Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Stay Grounded podcast. I'm your host, Raj Jana, and today I wanted to go over my own thoughts from Akshay's interview last week and how I'm implementing a lot of the things that he mentioned in the interview. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was his concept of spark moments. Once you feel something that makes you feel excited or full of energy, his concept is to dive deeper into those worlds to see if you can find more spark moments that can lead to greater growth. I think that's a brilliant way to find what you think your calling is or what you think is exciting you on a daily basis. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to find our purpose or to find out what our passion is in life or what we live for. But what actually made me realize was that it's a process. And in this process, all you have to do is just pay attention to what you already love doing. If you love working out, there has to be a reason why you find enjoyment in that activity. So find more to do in the workout space. Listen to workout podcasts. Find different individuals who inspire people in the workout space. Look at different avenues inside there if you can find greater insights that can help you take your own excitement to the next level. And I think that leads really well into his next concept, which is what his book, Fearvana, if you haven't picked it up yet, I'd highly recommend it. I'm reading it right now and it's an absolute game changer. But I think that concept of seeking out your spark moments almost falls into what he mentioned next, which was if you don't seek out struggle, struggle will find you anyways. And I think that's such a powerful quote. By going forward and looking for your spark moments, defining what your worthy struggle is. And I use the gym as an example, but it can mean anything. It can mean business. It can mean raising a family. It can mean going out and traveling the world. All of these activities have worthy struggles associated with them. Akshay's worthy struggle was intense running. So for him, he runs through some of the most challenging places in the world, whether it be Antarctica or the desert. That's his worthy struggle, and he finds a lot of clarity through his struggle. So I think the narrative around struggle needs to change, at least in my own life. And the way I'm doing that is, what will I gladly struggle for? For too long in my own life, I've constantly looked for shortcuts or the easy path to get to where I want to get to in life. And the more I go through my own process of starting Java Press and going through a startup phase and going through the ups and downs that inevitably accompany having a startup, I'm starting to realize that some of my most amazing moments just of happiness always follow intense periods of struggle. So when we were first launching our company, I can't tell you how many times I screwed up left and right. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes and that was really hard for me emotionally. But once I got it right, then I felt bliss that I had never felt before. So I think that, just understanding that struggle almost is a requirement for happiness and struggle is almost a requirement for greater fulfillment. Your worthy struggle is your greatest avenue for spiritual growth. The things you work for and the things that you work towards are always going to bring in the feeling of happiness, of joy, of meaning, and of clarity throughout whatever you do in life. Like I said, it can be anything, whether it be working out, getting in shape, crushing it at your corporate job, or crushing your business, or raising a beautiful family, or any other goals that you might have for yourself. I think that just knowing that the struggle is where you're going to find, the struggle is almost like a North Star. And if you're constantly settling or taking an easy path, you're never really going to have true fulfillment. He even embraced the fact that, he wasn't really practicing the concept of gratitude. And I thought that was so great. I mean, he has done so much in his life and he's accomplished so much, but he still acknowledged the fact that, you know what, I'm not perfect and I'm okay with that. And I'm constantly learning from other people who might be better than me in different places. And I think that's a really, really, really powerful statement. And something that I learned from that was just that, you should always be learning from people who are 10 steps ahead of us. A lot of times, especially me, I love to surround myself with people that are almost like friends or people that are almost like just like me. And that's great. And I think that's important because your peers are can be some of your greatest inspiration, some of your greatest motivation. But I still think that you need to have people that you look forward to, because you can get lost in your own life and think that everything is going rosy because it's just the way things are. You're not feeling any pain right now. But a lot of times we don't want to make changes in our lives because everything is working out perfectly. For example, I don't want to stop eating. Maybe I'm not eating as well as I should be right now, but I'm not seeing the effects right now. But in 40 years, yeah, I might be feeling the effects then. And if I talk to somebody in 40 years who's feeling these effects and saying, look, I used to be just like you and I did all these things back when I was your age or when I was doing this, and age is just a number, right? That's not what I'm saying. I guess in a sense of learning, somebody who's just further ahead of you on the learning scale, he shares, how the same mindset hurt him. And by knowing that somebody else who did the same exact thing as you did and is 10 steps ahead of you and is sharing how that mindset or behavior has impacted them at that stage, it allows you to visualize and see how that mindset or how the activities you're doing could be hurting you right now. So I think that always you can still hang out with your peers. You can still have a healthy friend group of people who are doing the same things you're doing, but always supplement that with people who are a couple steps ahead of you, so that you can be aware of what the choices you're making now will look like when you get to that stage. The last thing I really want to sort of touch on was his relationship with emotion. I think that was one of the best parts of the interview, was just understanding that, when he talked about his friend that died when he was serving, he talked about the guilt. And he talked about how guilt turned into something that he used to focus his drive and ambition to achieve. He had a poster that says, "This should have been you, earned this life." That is such a powerful statement. But, I think that earning your life has multiple meanings. For Akshay, it meant that you're going to go ahead and achieve to the greatest level, like just achieve, do as much as you can, be as successful as you can. And that's great. Akshay used guilt to channel achievement, but is that what his friend would have done? I don't know. And nobody knows that. And I think that living life to your fullest doesn't always have to mean achievement. But on that front, it does always mean being intentional with the time you spend, who you spend it with, and what you spend your time doing. So I think that as long as you're using your emotions, and negative or positive, to channel into this feeling of a more intentional life. So just being more aware of what you're feeling and how that can impact what you're doing. Allowing yourself to feel emotion, and when you feel emotions, having a song that you can use to get you in any mood you want to have. I think that is such a hack for life. I've got my own music that I now listen to. When I want to start working, I listen to a song. When I want to really hit it hard in the gym, I listen to a song. When I'm driving or when I'm writing or when I'm doing work, I listen to certain music that can get me in the mood. And I think that there's all these experiences and touch points and spark moments, in his words, in our lives that we're not aware of. Taking some time every day to just pause and reflect on what emotion you're feeling, and not fighting it, but just being okay with what you're feeling, is such a healthy way to almost embrace and cultivate this attitude of emotional well-being and awareness, which then can lead to you being a better worker, a better father, a better son, a better partner, a better businessman, a better employee, a better leader. In every capacity, this is a really practical way to build up emotional intelligence and the things that can lead into you creating a more fulfilling life for yourself. He summed it up so beautifully when he actually went and he spoke about his relationship with the Dalai Lama. It wasn't something where he just messaged the Dalai Lama and then all of a sudden the Dalai Lama wrote him a forward. He said it was 4 months of engagement. So, he went through 4 months of emotional turmoil and emotions and up and down emotions. And I think that's so important to just sit there and understand. 4 months of a roller coaster. And one of the biggest things that he took away from that was that all these emotions were in his head. What was happening around us or what was happening around him was the exact same. But what was happening in his own head was what made him perceive what was going on. So in that sense, if you can perceive, take away the fact that everything going on in your life, you can't change what's happening to you, but you can change the way you react to it. Then at that point, emotion turns into this tool. The bad emotions, the good emotions, everything is almost a perception. So like Akshay turned guilt into motivation, in that sense, you can turn sadness into gratitude, or you can turn happiness into love. I just think that reframing the emotions you feel and being okay with experiencing the awful emotions, or quote unquote awful, the things that don't make you feel as good. I think just being present with those emotions and understanding that it's okay to feel this way allows you to take those emotions and turn them into something positive. Akshay has an amazing book, Fearvana. Definitely go pick it up. I think he's giving it away for free still on his website, so go check it out. But these are my biggest takeaways from our interview with Akshay. Live the life you love, embrace your emotions, and stay grounded. I know it might not feel like everything is going well in life at every single moment, but just being aware of the emotions you're feeling and how your emotions play a role in your life will go a really long way in just creating a life that you're really loving. So hope that you enjoyed this week's recap on the Stay Grounded podcast. Until next time, stay grounded, my friends. Thanks for joining us today on this episode of the Stay Grounded podcast, brought to you by Java Press Coffee Company. My name is Raj, and I hope you found this interview helpful as you create your own ways to make daily happiness a priority. If you're interested in learning more about how your morning coffee can turn into a consistent source of joy in your life, visit www.javapress.com to learn how our products can help you do that, and use the coupon code PODCAST for 10% off your purchase. Again, thanks so much for joining us. Stay grounded.